when you take a shape, and the only thing you do is resize it, you don't mess around with anything other than resizing it, we get something that's called similar figures. So for instance, in this example, you can see in these drawings we have a triangle here, and then we have a smaller version of that same triangle here. These would be considered similar. And also these rectangles, they're similar, and this weird shape, whatever that is, those are also similar to one another. The nice thing about similar figures that the scale ratio is maintained. So if I was to do a ratio of any of these measurements, so x to p here, so this distance divided by that distance, it must be the same as w over t. The scale ratio would be maintained. So let's do an example here. We have a gardener designing a garden for a house that's not yet built, because he's trying to plan on figuring out what how far the shade of the house is going to go. He wants to solve this. He wants to say, well, right now his shadow he can see is 8 feet, and he knows that he's 6 feet tall. The house is planned to be 15 feet. Only 15 feet tall. That's kind of a short house, but whatever. The house is planned to be 15 feet tall, and we're trying to figure out how long the shadow of the house is going to be. So because of the way this is set up, we would end up having similar figures here, because the sun doesn't really care where you're at. It's kind of, we generally assume that the rays of the sun are all parallel. So if you were to have something that's tall here, the triangle that's formed like that would be similar to this triangle down here, since they're all parallel rays from the sun coming off. In any case, the whole point is we get similar triangles. So that means that we can keep those, the scale factor is going to remain the same. So 15 divided by 6, so this distance divided by that distance, would be equal to this distance divided by that distance, s over 8. So that means I can solve this by taking my cross multiplication. I get 6s equals 15 times 8. So s would be 15 times 8 divided by 6. I'll ask my calculator what that is. 15 times 8 divided by 6, which gives me 20. So that means the shadow of this house we would expect to be 20 feet long. Again, the units here, well, I guess everything is in feet on this one. So hopefully it should be clear that this would be just 20 feet.